Hi everybody, my name is Spammals and welcome to a different type of video. We've done so many Titanic games over the years, I thought it would be refreshing and interesting to take a step back and have a look at all of the games we have played. So without any more stalling, let's begin! So the Titanic is at the heart and soul of this entire channel. While we are not a dedicated Titanic channel, it is very much at the core of what we are. And we have done this for over 2 years now. And over that time, we've done like over 100 videos on the Titanic. It hasn't been an easy feat. There's only so many games out there to play, and of those, there are only so many that are good. So we've always done these Titanic weeks, and they often have a lot of bad and some good. We have a master playlist that has all of these in a single place. You may not have seen it. You go to the Spammals channel and start scrolling down. Oh, underneath the recent uploads, you got master playlists, and there you will find all Titanic games. 118 videos, goddamn! Off the bat, you got VR Chat Titanic, a free-to-play game that features the Titanic, and it's a pretty interesting build of the Titanic. It's definitely worth having a run around. Those are always pretty fun. Like, you never know what you're going to encounter because it's just always random people. So every time you go in, it's a different experience. And this one time, I met the Iron Giant, and I was Winnie the Pooh, and we had a magical adventure. Like, it was crazy fun, and on the Titanic as well, like crazy. The wreck of the Titanic then and now, Honor and Glory and Titanic VR. So this was something that I wanted to do for a long time since these games came out, because now and then things are always very nice to see. I thought this would be no different. It's not the longest video because it was kind of annoying to put together, trying to get the perspectives right on both games, and considering they're not made by the same developers, it was not easy, but we got there, and the results kind of speak for themselves. I'm really happy with how it came out. It's haunting and shocking, and I really liked the music that I used to it, because it really just kind of sold the moment, you know? Up next, we got some specials that I have done. So we have our main Titanic week every April, and we try to end the April events with a special, like something that's different than everything else that's before it, you know? In the past, we've done the SOS wireless distress messages. That's really a favorite of mine because it's just so dramatic. I tear up every time I see it. There's no me, there's no voiceover, I don't get in the way. It is just a transcript of the wireless messages as the disaster unfolds, and then even beyond the disaster. It's very interesting to see. It's real life, and you can see kind of the urgency growing as it goes on and on. Titanic, the whistle tests. This is an interesting one. So this is like a mini documentary. I'm really proud of this one as well. It was a world exclusive in this full form. I have a friend called Tan, and he was the manager of this traveling exhibition at the time, and this is around the time period when the big piece was raised and stuff like that, and they had the whistles, and they wanted to do a public sounding of them, but they had to do some tests to make sure that it was safe to do so, that they wouldn't explode and stuff like that. Now this video just documents the single very first time that they were sounded. Yeah, it's a piece of history, and you won't see this on a documentary, you won't see this on TV, you only see this on my channel. It was an honor to be working with this footage because I know how unique it is, and I wanted to do a good job by it, so I did the best I could to make as interesting a video, but also keeping it raw and to the point. Like, when the whistles are sounding, I bring the music down and out, that there's no contamination. I want you to hear the direct sound, you know? So highly recommend you check that one out. And our last special so far, the Nomadic Lifeboat. This was an article that I wrote, I forget when it was. I was working for the Nomadic Preservation Society at the time. I was the editor of their magazine, The Lone Star. We did an article about the lifeboat. And as time goes on, like, new information comes in, so I update it and I put it in video form, and that's what this more or less is. Again, there's no face cam, there's no anything else. It's just like my voiceover and visuals. And I would have liked to have included more pictures, but I was running short on time to get this one out, so I had to make do with what I had. But that said, it still came out really cool. I really like the blue visual in the background. It's really kind of ambient and spacey, you know? Ooh. And this tells the story of Nomadic's lifeboat. And you might think, well, why are you talking about a lifeboat? Well, when the article was written, it was the last remaining White Star Line lifeboats. Now, since the original article was written, a second lifeboat from the Oceanic has come forward. So there's now 2 White Star Line lifeboats. But this one is very special because we know definitively that this came off of Nomadic, and Nomadic was obviously built to serve the Olympic class liners. So there's a very strong Titanic connection here. But the story is full of drama and close to destruction. It's a drama in itself, like how they survived over the years. One of the lifeboats got burnt for firewood, and how this one that survived but nearly didn't make it. So it's a very interesting story that you won't hear anywhere else. No one's reported on this. No one's gone into this much detail on this. So it's a very cool special, and I'm glad once again that I got to bring it to you guys here on the Spammals channel. So moving on from the specials, we have some classics. Now these were a nightmare to get running, but these were things that are very close to, I think, many of our hearts here in the Titanic community. Look at that, look at the memories. So this was like an informational CD-ROM. It had loads of photographs, documentation, and it also told the story of the Titanic. And at the time, like, it was just absolutely mind-blowing amazing. Hard to get running today, and like you can get better quality stuff off the internet, but it is what it is, and it's amazing. And again, I like that we got to kind of preserve it here on the channel, because we do a full exploration of the CD-ROM. We're doing the story modes by looking at all the documentation. Can't get it to run on your PC? Check out the video. Now we're on to more recent affairs. Raft, a game about surviving in an ocean on board a raft, but it had a creative mode. We set out to start building ocean liners, and starting with the Queen Mary. Thought, yeah, this is doable. I can build the Titanic. How hard could that be? This was a monster undertaking. I still haven't worked out exactly how long it took, but it's in the ballpark of 50 to 60 hours. But it is what it sounds like, that there's limitations to the game, and we do the best we can with them. Using the tile pieces available, we do our best to recreate the Titanic as faithfully as possible. And with this, I tried my best to do a 1-to-1 scale, using deck plans to help me judge the scale. The results came out much better than I ever expected, although it was far too big than the game ever kind of thought someone would build, so the FPS is absolutely tanking. But it's one hell of a journey. After so long, it just had such an emotional attachment of like, we're doing this, we're building this, nothing's gonna stop me. And then getting to the end and having that kind of feeling of euphoria, like, we did it, amazing. Like, it's a really nice collective feeling that people in the comments also felt. So we had one hell of a journey building the Titanic there. After that, we have Titanic VR. Now, I'm a big fan of Titanic VR. It's a really cool experience. There's not many games out there that feature the wreck site of the Titanic. They're kind of terrible. This one's really cool. Diving to the bottom of the North Atlantic in our submersible, we get to explore the Titanic in virtual reality. It's one hell of a crazy experience. And you haven't got to have virtual reality to play it, because you can play it on a regular screen as well. But it's super, super fun and engaging and educational. It truly is. Now, we've been playing this again recently because it just had an update that included the stern section of the wreck and a Titanic sinking experience where you board lifeboat number 6 and you escape the stricken liner only to watch it sink before you. It's a crazy experience. Up next, Titanic Roblox 2.0. So Roblox is a free-to-play game. It's got many games within itself, and of them features the Titanic. Now, this is made by Virtual Valley Games, and it's been in production for years, and there's been different versions of it. But most recently, the version 2.0 was released, which is a full rebuild from the ground up, and it looks visually stunning. It truly does. Experience the Titanic. You can explore it, you can walk around its interiors, and then you become part of the sinking experience. And how it plays out is kind of up to you. It's a really cool experience. I highly recommend you check that one out. We also did another one called Titanic Legacy. I'm not going to feature this one in this video, but like, it's another Titanic within the world of Roblox. Oh, Titanic Honor and Glory Adventure Out of Time DLC. Adventure Out of Time is the most legendary of all Titanic games to ever be made. Arguably the most anticipated Titanic game to be released is Honor and Glory. I thought it'd be fun to do a fake DLC video. Now, I do say this is a fake video at the end of the video, but I don't reveal it until the very end, and I do my best to make it seem as genuine as I can, even going as far as making a fake menu screen. Adventure Out of Time had a demo called The Lost Mission or something like that, and it was different to the main storyline of the main game. So I replayed that because it's less familiar with people, but it has all that voice dialogue and stuff like that. And with that done, I jumped into Honor and Glory and I just refilmed it, like scene for scene, trying to replicate all the movements, even the way the camera turns. The idea was that it was a modern take on a classic style, you know? I hope you watch it. So look at this. We've done so many Titanic Honor and Glory demos over the years. Titanic Demo 3, Titanic in Belfast, Easter eggs in virtual reality. Now that's an interesting one to talk about. See, in Demo 3, it's really restrictive on where you can go, and rightly so. They only want you to see the interiors, and then when you're outside of the ship, only to see it from a distance. You're not allowed to go and explore the decks of the Titanic. But with the power of the HTC Vive and an exploit, I'm able to go wherever I like. So over 2 videos, we went inside the ship and outside the ship, getting to places we shouldn't be, such as the first class swimming pool, the A-deck landing of the grand staircase, and walking the promenade decks and stuff like like that. It was crazy fun experience, and it's something I want to revisit because I feel over time I've gotten better at video production, and I feel I could do a better job with this. One thing I'm really bad at doing is moving my head all the time, which makes a really shaky, juttery screen. Pretty sure I can do a much smoother experience. It's more higher quality. But for now, we have these videos. Check out the playlist. I highly recommend you take a look at them. A whole lot of honor and glory later. We get into Titanic Universive VR. This experience started off with the greatest of intentions. It's a VR experience on board the Titanic, and because there isn't many of them, I was like, great, let's jump on this. This could be a high quality experience. This experience just ripped off honor and glory unapologetically. It is a shame because we do need more high quality Titanic games out there on the market, and I really had high hopes for this, but it was such a letdown. It truly was a letdown. Next up, Titanic 3D, the experience. This was a web-based browser Titanic exploration where I think the project got cancelled, but the dude was basically making 360 panoramas in the model of the Titanic, and you just sit there and you can kind of look in a sphere all around you, and you click into the next place to go and stuff like that. It's a nice enough experience, and it was looking really good. It had a nice selection of rooms, and it's free to play as well, so that's a nice bonus. It would be really nice to see the project finished, but I don't think it will be. That sucks. Now, of the many Titanic games out there, some of them are a little bit more disrespectful than others are, but I didn't want to censor myself. I wanted to show you guys everything that's available that I could find. So, with that said, the game Left 4 Dead 2 had a Titanic multiplayer map. The concept is simple. You and some friends, you're on board the Titanic, and for reasons unknown, all the passengers and everyone has turned into zombies. You're armed with guns, and you have to fight your way to the lifeboats in order to survive. Although the iceberg has now hit and the ship is starting to sink, it is a race against time to save your life. At times, very brutal. There are some scenes where literally hundreds of zombies come running at you, and there's quite a lot of red jam on the screen, if you know what I mean. That said, it's extremely fun. So we're about halfway through our list with this one. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because we have still got quite a few to get through. So we also did a game called Disassembly 3D, and this was a game all about taking an object apart, and then when you do that, you get rewarded with a bomb so you can blow it up again. It's silly, it's goofy. You pull the ship into pieces and you swap it around until you get every single nut and bolt out of it. It is what it is, really, I guess. Up next is the most popular, the most viewed video on my channel with some 1.5 million views. Sinking Simulator 2, Sink the Titanic. The Sinking Simulator 2 is a free-to-play game where you can spawn ships into this flat 2D world. You can poke holes in it, and then water will actually flood into that model, and then physics takes over, and you get to see what happens afterwards. In hindsight, I'm really mixed about them. I don't feel like I've done a very good job, but people watching them have truly loved them. So it's a really weird example of, I don't know, I don't even know what it's an example of. I feel like I've worked way harder on some videos that have done terrible, and then this has just blown up, and I feel like I could have put a lot more effort into it, you know? Skimming down, number 54, Rust Titanic. In many ways, this was a precursor to our Raft Titanic build because they have many similarities in tile sizes and tile option selections. So with this, I used sheet metal that made it look like rust, and I only did the bow section. It turned into a wreck model of the bow section, more or less. It's not perfect, it truly isn't. I still did the best I could with the limitations I was put up against, but it was great fun doing it all of the same. So up next, we have a popular series that's in hot demand to return, and I do want to bring it back. I just keep running out of time to bloody do it. But it's a series called My Collection. I have a White Star Line collection, and for a couple of videos, I opened it up and shared some of it with yourselves. Over 3 episodes, we've done an introduction to my collection, an Olympic story, and a Britannic story. The Olympic story, I showed you the items that I have in my collection from the Olympic, including the ceiling moulding from the smoking room to picture postcards and floor tiles and parts of the grand staircase and stuff like that. The style of these videos kept kind of changing and evolving. I wanted to show you guys the actual physical item, but also kind of having the face to cam bit, and also showing kind of like a scan so you can see actually in high quality what we're looking at. The highlight of the Britannic one was getting this first generation print of Britannic leaving Southampton, and there it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it to pieces. It's one of my prized items in my collection. Oh god, up next, Fall of the Titanic. It's a classic example of a guy having a good idea, an honest idea, wanting to build a Titanic game, but then he hasn't actually got the means to actually follow through with the game. He pulled models off of the Google and Unity warehouse and stuff like that, threw it into a Unity engine, and started selling it on Steam, and then started making bold claims about what he was going to add, and then as time went on, he just couldn't deliver on his promises. But people were buying into the game, and they was expecting a product, so he had a friend post that he died of monoxide poisoning and there would be no more updates. But I know that this isn't the case because I added the developer on Steam, and either someone else is using his account or the ghost of him accepted my friend's request, so yay. After that, a Nintendo ripoff, Titanic, the NES game that never was but kind of is. It's everything you would expect from a NES game. It's very, very bad graphics. It's just of its era, you know? It has a story behind it, and it's an interesting one. It's like a rip-off from the James Cameron film, and like it's just comical. It's just fun and silly to play through. The video came out really well for this. Like, I'm really happy with how this one came out. But yeah, I recommend to check out this video. I'm pretty sure it'll put a smile on your face. Up next is the Let's Play that started it all, Titanic Adventure Out of Time. My commentary is old. You know, it's not like it is today. It's a lot more slurred, slow. Like, I'm still discovering who I am as a YouTuber at that point. I still am now. It's definitely aged bad, I would say. I don't feel comfortable watching it anymore, but it still is there, and I won't ever take it down because it's part of my history, and it's a record of that game. I really hope you enjoy that Let's Play of it. I still did the best I could at the time. Up next is Dive to the Titanic. Oh, one of those games about the wreck that was bad. The sub, for credit where credit is due, the sub was great. The sub was fine. No problem with the sub, but the model itself was just subpar, poorly made, just bad. It's an interesting Let's Play. Again, it's dated and old, so my commentary is not as on point as it is today. It's a memory. It's a moment in life. Do I recommend the game? No. Get Titanic VR. That's all you need. If you want a wreck game, get Titanic VR. Don't waste your time on these. That said, they are on Steam and they're probably going to be cheap. So if you want to broaden your Titanic library experiences, there's an option for you. Alternatively, watch my video instead. You won't be wrong. We are coming towards the end now, episode 78, 79. We did a series called Titanic World, and I've kind of, at this point, retired the series. But the concept of it was, there's many games out there that feature the Titanic in some way, but they are not inherently Titanic games. A good example would be Grand Theft Auto. Not a Titanic game, but you can get a Titanic mod for the game that brings the ship into the engine. That's fantastic. The weather systems in that game are beautiful. It's visually stunning, so we did an episode on that. It's a really cool series of videos. I recommend to check them out, I do. I recommend to check out all these Titanic videos, funny enough. We're now getting towards the bottom of the barrel. These are some of the worst games we have played on the channel. Titanic The Fateful Voyage, Titanic Keys to the Past, Return to Titanic, Titanic Most Accurate Titanic to Date. Oh, that one was an April Fool's joke. I was getting a bit frustrated because people just kept demanding more Titanic content, and I'm not a Titanic channel. We played Titanic here, but I am not just Titanic. Yeah, there, you are a Titanic channel, am I now? So I find the most ridiculous Titanic game I could possibly find, and I don't say a single word in this video, and we go into it, I play it, and I uninstall it, and I just kind of let people fill in the blanks. It is what it is. I'm going to leave that one there for you to check out yourself. Now, next up, it's a series. It's not a Titanic game, but it is definitely Titanic related. It's an art game called Passepartout, and you are a French artist, and the game is about basically climbing the social ladder with your art. You actually draw things, people will judge it, they will buy it, and you make money, and you go from the streets of Paris up to the highs of high society. I wanted to do this game, and I wanted to do it differently to how other people had been doing it, so I made myself a maritime artiste, and we did Titanic paintings, Britannic paintings. How many episodes? 11 episodes of that. I do the entire thing in a French accent. Oh, oui, a Passepartout, the starving artist is nonchalant, no, Baguette man, he get out of here. But he is an artist of exquisite qualities, oui? Yeah, tra-la-la, ding-ding-dong. I don't know, it's been a while since I've done a French accent. I'm gonna kind of skim over these final videos, but they're very low-quality games that are funny because they're bad. Can You Escape Titanic? Titanic's Hidden Mysteries. Ice-Tanic. where the iceberg and penguins are involved in the sinking. Yes. Titanic Kiss, a game about being on board the Titanic and trying to kiss somebody without being seen. Because if you're seen, oh no, 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 don't be doing that. No, 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 no. And then at the very, very end, we have former production diaries from former Titanic weeks. That brings us to the end of our All Titanic Games playlist. Did you know that this playlist existed? Have you checked this one out? Have you seen all of these games? Maybe we've called out some that you didn't realize we had played or had entirely forgotten we played. Maybe you want to just go to the start, hit play, and then just leave the playlist running all night long. Hey, 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 help the channel out. Anyway, that said and done, that was that. I hope this was fun to watch. If it was, leave me a comment down below with your thoughts and opinions. And on that bombshell, thank you for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.